Hello, everybody, and welcome to our partner showcase, Neptune in Action, your new everyday scan and read companion. As you're making your way in, we are going to launch a poll so our presenters can learn a little bit more about you guys, and you guys can learn a little bit more about the people who are joining you in this webinar today. So just take a second and go over the poll, and we will get to some of the results. In the meantime, I will be going over some of the ground rules of this webinar. Some of the ground rules of this webinar, just so you guys are aware, is that there will be no ACV REP credits. We will have closed captioning available if you need that. And if you have any questions, feel free to type those questions in the chat and we will get to them as the webinar is running and at the end. I will let the poll go for just a second and we'll go over those results and then we'll get started and I'll introduce you to some of our presenters today. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and end this poll and then we'll get to the introduction. So the first question that we always ask as you guys are coming in is, what is your job title? We have about 55% who are teachers of students with visual impairments. We have some orientation and mobility specialists, vision rehabilitation specialists, and therapists, and also some assistive technology specialists who are in attendance as well. In terms of where you guys are coming from, we have about 5% from the Northeast, 20% from the Southeast. I am a Southeast person myself, so woo woo. We have some from the Northwest, about 30% from the Southwest, and we have 30% from the Midwest as well. And then we have about 5% from a European country. So everybody, welcome. We are so excited to have you today. And of course, our last question is always, how did you hear about this webinar? And we have about 10% that heard from our APH website, and the majority of you guys heard actually from an email from APH, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce some of our hosts today. I, first of all, am Amanda Dennis, and I am going to be your moderator in some senses here. I will be helping with the chat and also doing some polls here, but our first presenter is Lee Huffman, and he is a low vision product manager for product development at APH. He holds a bachelor's degree in communication studies, and he has over 20 years of experience in the blindness field evaluating mainstream and access technology. Our second host is Lydia Smith, and she is a product engagement manager at APH. She works closely with our product development team to build awareness of our work and also our mission in the field of blindness and low vision. Lydia holds a BSBA in marketing from The Ohio State University and also previously worked on APH's product development team for over 2 years before transitioning into product engagement. And then lastly, we have Jennifer Wenzel, who is a technology product specialist at APH. She learned Braille at the age of 4 and was an early user of refreshable Braille displays. In college, she used an early program to scan books and class handouts. She loves to help students and teachers learn about products that can make classroom materials accessible. And she lives in Wisconsin with her husband, 2 of their 3 sons, and 2 cats. So welcome. We're super excited to have you guys as the hosts today of our webinar, and we will have one of them take it away to tell you just a little bit about the agenda today and for you guys to learn a little bit about the Neptune.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lee Huffman, as I was introduced by Amanda, and I'm the product manager for Neptune. And just a little brief overview of how we're going to flow today. The first thing we'll talk about very briefly is the mission of the Neptune, followed by the product description and what's in the box, because it's always important to know what you're getting in the box and what to expect. We'll give an overview of some of Neptune's the features of Neptune, some of the most important things you would want to know. And we will do a demo from Jennifer, which is really probably going to be the highlight of today's webinar. And then finally, what we'll do is take questions and answers. So with no further ado, we'll talk a little bit about the Neptune's mission. So really, the Neptune's mission basically is very simple. It is to make printed text more accessible to people who are blind or have low vision by magnifying the text and reading it aloud in a customizable manner that is visually customizable and auditorily customizable. Our next slide is our description. So the Neptune is a portable desktop device. So it's going to be sitting on your desktop. It's something you can very easily take with you from place to place that begins reading text aloud right when you slide a piece of paper underneath its camera. You will slide a piece of paper under the camera in a landscape mode. It doesn't matter if you have the top of the page to the left or to the right. It will automatically take a picture. You will hear that like an old-timey camera would take a picture and will automatically begin reading that aloud. So it is displayed on the screen in many different customizable colors, foreground and background colors. And we have a lot of different voices that are available. We have a male voice, we have a female voice, we also have Spanish. If that Spanish voice is more usable to your student, or maybe that's their first language. And it also comes with a messenger style carrying case, which I think is pretty cool. So next slide, we'll talk about what's in the Neptune box. Just for those of you who don't know, the name Neptune, you may be familiar with some of APH's other low vision products, the Jupiter, which is our traditional desktop portable magnifier, and our Juno, the handheld video magnifier. Neptune, actually, if you remember your Greek mythology, Neptune is the brother of Jupiter and Juno. So we kind of have a family of low vision products now that we have the Neptune as well. So when you open your box, you will find the Neptune device itself. You will find it's a very thin, very lightweight portable LCD screen that's you can use with or without the device. You will find the connection cable for the screen as well. You will also find the remote. This is a remote control that is battery powered. And one thing that's very cool about the remote is that every time you press a button, not only are the buttons highly visually contrasted with the background, they are very tactile. And when you press it, you can actually hear the button being pressed and you can feel the button being pressed so that you are certain that you've actually made the connection with it. On the back, there is a label for the Neptune. So if this does become misplaced, the student leaves it in one room and travels, onto lunch or to another classroom. If someone finds this, they will know exactly what it is and most likely who it belongs to. The power adapter, the AC adapter, also comes in the box. And of course, we have a label, just like for the remote, on the AC power adapter as well. And this is going to be helpful if you're like me and you have a box of chargers and you have absolutely no idea what they go to. We want to make it very apparent that this is the Neptune charger. So that is labeled as well. We have the charging cable for the Neptune. We have the charging cable for the remote. And instead of printed documentation in this particular product, we have a product information card. And that is a Braille and large print card with an accessible QR code. And what we're looking to do in this product is have your smartphone available to scan the QR code. That takes you directly to APH's product page for the Neptune, where you can either read or download, or both, the Quick Start user guide as well as the full user manual. Okay, next slide. So we'll look at some key features of the Neptune. So first, again, we have the 13-inch customizable display screen, which again, you can use with or without the device. We have English and Spanish voices. We have male and female voices that are available, depending on which is your most preferred to listen to. One of the great things about this particular device is that you can read at a higher level of granularity. So when you slide the page underneath the camera of the Neptune and it begins reading aloud, it is automatically going to begin reading the entire page. If you want to read by page, that's fine. If you want to read by paragraph, you can slow it down and do that. You can read by sentence, you can read by word, and you can read by character. And when you're reading by character, it also announces the spaces and it announces all the punctuation. So if those things happen to be important in a document, the student will be able to have access to that information as well. You always need to know how to spell a word, make sure that that's accessible as well. So you will have all that granularity built into your Neptune. One thing that's really great about this particular device is you can scan one page at a time. If you have one page to scan, you can do that. Or if your teacher has several pages for you, maybe they give a handout in class one day and it's 10 pages long. You can scan page after page, save it to a USB thumb drive on the Neptune, and read it later. You can take that USB drive to your computer. You can read it there. You can rename the title of the whatever you save there, whether it be, something about the Revolutionary War, or maybe you're actually scanning a full book. You can name it however you like, and then bring it back to the Neptune and read it again later. One of the questions that we get asked a good bit is, what is the battery life on the Neptune? And it all depends is the answer. So normally for the question, we answer 10 to 12 hours for the Neptune device. And that will all depend on how readily you're using it, how quickly you scan page by page. It will also depend sometimes on the foreground and background colors of the screen when you're using that. If you have a white background, that takes more energy from the battery than it does a black background. And so however you set your visual screen, that will impact it a little bit, but we always tell people about 10 to 12 hours on the Neptune device. You will get a little less time than that when you actually use with the remote keypad. That's a little bit less, but you can always keep this charged. One of the way that we suggest you charge it is to use the cord, plug it into the remote, and plug that into the Neptune. That's the way to charge the remote control. Not necessarily with a brick or through your laptop, but to charge it through the Neptune itself while the Neptune is on. If your remote control happens to lose power, you can always use it while it is charging as well. We get that question a good bit as well. How do you listen to the book that you're reading or the page that you've scanned? You have a few different options. You can use the standard headphone jack that you might get at Walmart or the grocery store. That's always an option. You can, like you'll see in our demonstration in just a few minutes, you can transfer this via Bluetooth to a Bluetooth speaker if you want to project your reading for some reason. And also you can have this go to wireless Bluetooth headphones. So however is most appropriate for the student, you can do that. You can also just have it play into the air if you're just in a room by yourself and don't want to use the earphone pieces. You don't have to. You can have it just read aloud into the air. It's very lightweight and portable. The entire device weighs about 4 pounds. And so that would be very easy to put into the case and carry it from classroom to classroom. One thing I really like about the case that comes with this particular device is that it has just several different ways to carry it. You have a shoulder strap, which you can do over the shoulder or you can do crossbody. It has traditional sort of briefcase style handles that you can carry in your hand. And there's also a strap that goes across the back of the bag that allows you to put it over a carry-on rollerboard type bag that you might take onto an airplane. And I know a lot of students have a backpack that actually has roller wheels on it that has a handle that slides out, so they could slide that down over their backpack that they already have and be, hands-free with it that way. So there's 3 different ways to carry this particular bag. And the next slide is one of the features that I think is pretty cool for the remote control. And after this slide, we'll do a few poll questions. And then after that, we can have the demo from Jennifer. The remote control, in the back of it, there is a magnet. And in the back of the Neptune, you can look at the screen, hopefully, and you can see that there's a cutout on the back of the Neptune device. And this is a cradle that the remote fits directly into and is magnetized. So this is one way we're hoping that students will not lose this remote control. So if they're going to be going from classroom to classroom, or when the device is not in use, we suggest that you put it into the cradle where it will be magnetized and held into place. It's a pretty strong magnet. It's not going to come loose easily. When the student picks it up off the table, if they happen to just kind of bump lightly into something, this will not fall out. It's going to be a strong magnet that they can help keep them attached to their Neptune so they don't have the opportunity to lose it as well. So it's got a little bit of protection there as well, because it does come up around the sides of the remote to keep it from getting bumped or banged while it's in transit. And I think with all of that information, we're ready for a poll question or two, maybe 3.
Alrighty. So we're going to go over just a couple of the poll questions. It's going to be kind of fun. So I'm going to launch the first one. And the first question is, the Neptune and its remote control keypad are both battery powered. True or false? And we'll give that just a minute. And then we'll go over the results and we'll let Lee tell you what the answer is. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll here in just a second. So if you have any last answers you want to put in, go ahead. All right. So again, the question was the Neptune and its remote control keypad are both battery powered, true or false? We had 80% say true and 20% say false.
Oh no, where were the 20%? This this is true. The Neptune does not need to be plugged in. It can be plugged in and used while you're reading and scanning, but it is a 10 to 12 hour battery life on the device itself. There's about a 6 to 8 hour battery life on the remote keypad. They do have separate batteries, and you can use them both completely independent of a power source, or if you need to, you can have the Neptune plugged into an AC outlet while you're using it. And if you need to, you can plug your remote control into the Neptune via the charging cable and be charging this while you're using it as well. So the answer to the question, they're both battery powered.
Alrighty, so we're getting to question two. Question two is launched, and it is the Neptune can be used with or without its display screen. True or false? And we will end the poll in just a second, so put in your last answers.
Quick, quick, quick.
Alrighty, so the Neptune can be used with or without its display screen. 92% of people said true,
That's
and we
great.
had 8% that said false.
Okay, this is absolutely true. So if you have a student or if you yourself are not the screen is not useful to you, if you do not have usable vision or that is something that you do not want to use, you can simply not attach the screen to the device and keep it to the side. So it has every bit of the same functionality that it does for like reading capabilities with or without the screen. We chose to put the screen with the device because we know that some teachers might use this with more than one student. Some students may benefit from the screen, others may not. And if they don't benefit from the screen, they don't need to use it. So it's there in case the student or the person wants to use it. It is not a necessity.
Alrighty, we have maybe one more poll question, depending
Sure.
on how Lee feels about it. So I'm going to go
Let's do
ahead
it. Let's
and
do it.
launch it now. When scanning and saving a multiple page document, the Neptune can save up to, the first option is 10 pages, the next is 25, the next is 50, and the last option is more than 50 pages. And we'll give that just a minute for you guys to.
This might be a little harder. I didn't really address this specifically.
Well, if he didn't
So,
address it, you guys will find out in due time what the answer is.
yes.
But give it a good go. Give it a good guess. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and close out the poll. Alrighty, so when scanning and saving a multiple page document, the Neptune can save up to, the first option was 10, the second 25, then 50, and then more than 50 pages. So for 10 pages, we had 16% of people who said that that would be their guess. 25 pages had 12%, 50 pages had 20%, and more than 50 pages had 52%.
52% has it. So congratulations to that 52%. When you're saving a multiple page document, you are saving to just a traditional USB drive that plugs into the side of the Neptune. And you can save as many pages as needed. You may, if you want to save a 100-page book, you can absolutely do it. So there's really not a limit to the number of pages that you can save with the Neptune in a multiple page document, except the capacity of your thumb drive. So hopefully you wouldn't fill that up, but it's whatever you need to do. It's very customizable to whatever multiple page document you're saving.
Alrighty, and we will save that last poll question for just a little bit later and we will continue on.
I think Jennifer's up with a demonstration.
I am. So very excited to be here to show all of you the Neptune. I forgot to put in my bio that I do have a bachelor's degree in also in communication, speech communication from the University of Minnesota. So get to use that degree and talk to you all about the Neptune today. So I personally don't usually use the screen, but I do for demo purposes. It's nice to be able to have it and use it for things like a demo or for somebody that might benefit from the screen, and then to be able to take it off and put it back in the case when I don't need it. I love the case for this product because it has multiple pockets.
Mhm.
So you can put the screen in one, you can put the Neptune in one, and there's extra room in there for like books or documents. And it has multiple ways to carry it, like Lee mentioned. So it's a great case as well. So the Neptune is here, and I'm going to grab the little keypad and show you. Can you guys, is this viewable, the keypad?
No, you have to move
No?
it a little bit up.
Closer to the Neptune.
How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
There you
Yep.
go.
Okay, perfect. So now we have the keypad, and it does magnet really well into the little cradle. And the nice thing that I really like is that when you fold the Neptune, the control stays right there in that little cradle. So it's much harder to lose the keypad, which is a great thing. And it is a nice magnet. In fact, I had it sitting on my desk the other day, and I had a little Allen wrench from putting together something, and it the magnet magneted to the Allen wrench as well. So just so you know, it can magnet to things. So on this keypad, you have your traditional daisy player type controls. Your up, down, left, right, and then a middle select button. The select button does playing and pausing. And it also, the down arrow and up arrow do the granularity.
Paragraph. By sentence.
So it's really easy to adjust how you want to read by word.
By character.
And I have a Bluetooth speaker attached to this right now for demo purposes. You can also, of course, do a Bluetooth headset. Also on this control, there are the volume up and down buttons or arrows. They're very tactile. Like Lee mentioned, very easy to tell the buttons. There is a left action button and a right action button, a mode button and a control button. And I'll show you the voices.
Voice is set to English Samantha.
That's the female Samantha voice.
La voz está configurada para español Angélica.
Angelica, the Spanish voice.
Voice is set to English Nathan.
And that's my preferred voice. I just prefer, I can seem to be able to hear the male voices a bit better. This keypad is just very easy to adjust things. So like I said, the volume up and down buttons on the left here, and these on the right, there are up and down. They're triangular buttons. They almost feel like an up and down arrow for speech speed.
Speech speed up.
So you can go up.
Speech speed down. Speech speed down.
And you can go up and down kind of on the fly, depending what you're reading too, which is super nice and easy. And just a real quick thing, there's a menu.
Menu, Bluetooth.
Which you hit or you go to by hitting or holding the mode and control buttons down together. And I was just going to show you one thing I really like. So I'm arrowing down with the daisy player arrows, and I get to about, and I'm going to select. Oop, that didn't come out well. Hold on.
Keypad battery 83%.
So it's telling me my keypad battery is at 83%.
100%.
And the regular battery was at 100%. That was just a little, I don't know why the Bluetooth had a small distortion there, but that's really handy to be able to check your battery level. And then if you would need
serial number 269.
Your serial number, if you ever had to call customer service, it's all really easy to get at in an audio manner if you can't read the label on the back of the keypad.
Version H1031 OCR 3.12. Keypad version 9. Exit.
And then I'm just going to exit
Menu,
that.
About. Exit. Exiting menu.
And exit the menu. So these keypad buttons are just really, really easy to use. So now I will just show you scanning a document, and I happen to have a piece of mail that I received. And so I'm going to scan it. And I don't know the orientation for sure. I'm doing my best guess.
J3 control number 1210-0040. Expiration date March 31st, 2026. Summary annual report for 403. B. Thrift plan for employees of a.
And there's nothing This is not my individual report, it's an annual report. So there's nothing private in this email or in this paper. But as you can see, it's reading the content. So I'm going to adjust the screen, and I believe you'll be able to tell the font and color. So I'm going to change the font first, and I'm getting larger. I'm hopeful you can see that. This should be making the font bigger.
I don't see anything on the screen, Jennifer. I'm not
Uh,
sure if it's on or if it's
It's
just me.
on. Hold on.
Is it plugged in?
Yes, it is. Hold on. Let's make sure. Let's unplug it and plug it back in.
And it may be the angle of the camera hitting the screen as well.
Okay,
There we
now for
go. That's
sure it's
good.
on.
That's
Okay,
on.
Yep.
That
I
is
think it
on.
wasn't pushed in tight enough. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
It is on.
Let's try this. Now let's try to adjust the font. How about that?
Okay.
Now it should be getting bigger.
It is.
And then I can change the color if I want to do that. And again, this is very easily done on the keypad. So if I want to go, and it can be very customizable per document or per student. So now we can change some colors and make it different colors with different backgrounds. So again, very, very customizable, easy to set, and it will stay the way you adjust it until you adjust it again. So nice, easy way to do that. If I want to, I can play again with my round circular button.
Associated Industries for the Blind. This is a summary of the annual
And then if I want to, I can change my,
by sentence.
we'll do by
By
word.
word. 0, 0,
So then we can, well, actually, this isn't a great demo by word. So let's go.
by sentence. J3 control number 1210 0040. Expiration date March 31st, 2026.
So now it's started over, and it's real easy to change your characters, your words, your sentences, whatever you need to do. And of course, you could slow it down, speed it up. The nice thing too is there is a pause button on the actual device on the left side. So if you as a teacher needed to pause or play it quickly, you would not have to take the keypad away from the student. You could pause or play from the device on the left side. It's really easy to fold, to take the screen on and off, very lightweight, very portable. And it works very quickly with documents. Also, if you're saving, like you can, there's a columns mode. So if you do need to read in columns, you can do it per document just on the keypad, or you can go into the menu and do what's called a sticky columns mode so that it would continue to read in columns until you change that. And then if you're saving the book, what it does is it just saves pages. It's sort of like a batch mode. It's what it used to be called in the older scanners, where you save a bunch of pages and then it converts them. When you push the button, it will convert them all at once. So that's a quicker way to save a longer document or a book. And that's about it, unless someone has something else they want me to demo or a question.
One thing I would like to mention is when you're assembling the Neptune, it does fold down. And so when you first begin to open it, there's on the left-hand side at the very back, there's a button that you press in and you will hear it click so that you can know you can lift the arm of the Neptune and raise that into place. And when the Neptune arm is in place, it will click. And so when you put your screen into the latches on top, it clicks into place. So every time that you attach a piece of hardware to the other, it will click into place. You will hear it click, you will feel it, and so that you will know that those connections have been made
Yes.
properly.
And you always have to push the button to fold, and then to take the screen off, there's a locking mechanism in the back that you slide with your finger or your thumb, and then you can lift the screen off. But yeah, it is a really nice way. And there's a small HDMI cord that connects the screen to the Neptune. And it's a very short HDMI cord, and it's a really nice one to be able to just plug in really easily to both parts of the actual screen and to the Neptune.
The charging cord also for the remote control is about 4.5 or 5 feet long. So
Mhm.
you will be able to, sit in. You don't have to sit directly in front of it. You're not tethered right to the device. If you want to stand up, you can. If your teacher needs to use it for any reason and she's 3 feet away, she can still use the remote keypad while it's plugged in. So it does have a good length of the cord for your remote control for the charging cable for the remote control keypad.
It does.
So we have a chat from Amy Snow. She said that when she took hers out of the box, it just happened to have placed an article under the camera and it had columns, which it read. So she wants to know, is column mode on by default then?
It is not on by default. You just may have gotten a nice scan from it initially, but column mode is not on by default.
All right, and if you guys have any more questions, you guys can put them in the chat.
One thing too about the Neptune, and I don't know that it's not easily seen, but from the way Jennifer has it set up, or I don't believe also earlier in the PowerPoint, but when you close the Neptune shut, there is a handle on the base plate of the
Yes.
device. So the student can carry the device with a handle directly.
place your
It's
documents.
built in. It's not going to
Sorry.
come off. It's not going to be, break a handle off of the device. It's built into the base plate. And so it makes it just an easy, quick and go to get it lifted up and into the bag. You're not going to drop it because there's not a handle. There's a very sturdy built-in handle to the base plate, which makes it very easy for a student who might be a little rough with things to handle the device. Any other questions today?
The remote actually clicks in as well when you magnetize it in. You can hear it
Yes.
click. I don't know if we talked about that, but it's just a really
Mhm.
nice, fits in really, really well. Ooh, good
Avery
question.
Bassett just asked, will the Neptune pair with Apple AirPods?
And it should.
I
But
don't know why
Apple,
it wouldn't. Yeah,
the only reason it might not is because sometimes Apple things don't play well with others, but it should.
it should, because it's a Bluetooth connection.
So the Bluetooth pairing is through the menu
Mhm.
that I went into with the buttons, the mode and control button, and it will scan. So you put your Bluetooth device in pairing mode, and then the Neptune, you can go to scan for device. You hit the select button, it will scan, and then it will find a list of choices. So if you don't find the AirPods, if it's not saying it right away, you can use your down arrow, you find the AirPods, you select it, and then it will pair. It's a very simple process. So hopefully, I have not tried it with AirPods because I don't own them, but I would imagine they would.
I'm curious, can the Neptune only read printed text or can it also read handwriting?
It does not read handwriting, it reads printed text. And if you have a page where you have a photo in the text, it will read around that photo. So you'll be able to continue reading from above the photo and it will pick up below the photo.
Okay. And can you tell me the different file types that you can save? So I know that you can save a ton of pages on here. I'm assuming that it can save into like PDFs.
I'm trying to think. I know there's a DAISY format, there's an MP3, there are
TXT. It
TXT. Yeah,
creates
there are
a
a few.
folder. It creates a folder called Neptune Books on your drive, and then it makes the book its own folder. And in that folder, there are multiple file types. So there's like, I believe there's an HTML. It does them automatically. And the text ones you can even put on like a Braille display, because I've done that on the Monarch. And I also actually got it, put it on the Mantis and it read real well. So that's another use for it if you wanted to save a book and then read it in another way.
Yes.
The MP3 is actually like the voice of the Neptune recorded reading it. So.
Okay. Amy Snow asks if can a different external monitor be used than the one that came with the unit? So can you use a different monitor?
This is a proprietary monitor and the cord is proprietary as well that connects the two. So really, we suggest you use this particular monitor. We would not guarantee any of the quality with the if you wanted to use a different monitor.
And a different monitor wouldn't fit in quite the same way
That's
either.
right. It would not fit onto you would have to be a separate standalone monitor with its own stand. It would not connect into the top of the arm of the Neptune, like this one particular one does. One thing that we're always wanting feedback on the product. So if, this is a 13-inch monitor, if you would prefer, a 15-inch monitor or something like that as you use this and think, hey, this larger size monitor would be better, please give us that feedback because there will be, hopefully, further generations of the Neptune that we might be able to make some changes and updates to better suit the needs of all of our customers.
I'm also quite curious. So I know on some of the other APH devices, such as the Monarch, there are user profiles or like language profiles. I'm wondering if the Neptune has this in general, if you're using this with multiple people, that it would be set up in the way that they want to be set up by selecting their profile. And how you guys have any sort of remote management options for people using it for device updates.
So to answer the first question, this is basically meant for one user profile at a time. So one thing that Jennifer mentioned earlier is that however you finish using the Neptune, when you shut it down for the afternoon or to close it down, it remembers the font size, it remembers the language that you were using, it remembers the color choices that you had selected. And when you open it back up to begin reading the next time, it will open up to that exact same one. So there's not a situation with the Neptune at the moment where you can select, user 1, user 2, user 3. And
Okay.
the question came about the ability to upgrade. So at some point when there is an update for the OCR or whatever component, what we will do is make that available on our website as a download, and you would load it to a USB and then load it into your Neptune. So you would go to the APH website, go to the product page, find the link for the download for the upgrade. You would put a thumb drive into your computer. You would download it, put that into the Neptune, and it would take that download and create the new situation for your Neptune device.
One thing you can do for languages is if you're reading a document and you suddenly realize, oh, this document's in Spanish or this document's in French, you can go in the menu and switch the language and then have that document read that way. So that, even though you can't pick user 1, user 2, you can switch language per document quickly.
Yes.
Does it read accents quite well? So when you're scanning a document, say in French or Spanish, would it recognize that when it's reading it to you, the accents?
Spanish for sure, because it has the Spanish voice. I think other voices, if you want like a French voice, you have to order that. Is that right, Lee?
You can. I mean, if there's a teacher or a family or anyone that has a special situation that they have a need for a particular voice, maybe it's Mandarin, maybe it is, something else. You can contact APH Customers Experience, and they will be able to reach out to us, and we can create a special Neptune for you that has the language that you need.
Okay. And does the Neptune support like custom dictionaries? Is there like a dictionary that the Neptune has on it? Um, just for recognition for when it's reading some like documents and stuff like that?
There is not a dictionary built into the Neptune. I'm
Okay.
taking that as a suggestion.
It looks like we have another question in the chat from Avery. She asks if the Neptune will detect formatting like news articles and adjacent columns. I know we talked about the column mode, but she also asks about a table of contents, footnotes, and tables.
I don't believe it would actually say footnote and then read the footnote. It would just read the footnote as part of the page. So the table of contents, it would read it like it would be a paragraph. It might say chapter 1, page 4, chapter 2, page 10. So it would just read the table of contents like it were an actual paragraph.
I do also have another question. So, Lee, what are the latency times between scanning and audio playback? And
0.
Oh, none. Okay.
It's super quick.
Yeah, it's super quick.
When you lay your piece of paper, your printed material under the camera, it's like literally 1 second you will hear, and if you can see, you will see a flash like an old camera would sound. And after that, it begins reading.
Okay, but what if you have multiple pages? So like say you wanted to scan in those 50 pages or whatever of a book and you wanted it to read that to you. Do you have to scan all 50 at once and then it reads it, or is it just going page by page? Like how does that work?
You can do it page by page. It depends on how you want to read it. If you want to scan several pages and you want to read them as you go, you put it under, scan the one page, have it read to the end, take that out, put the second page in, have it take the picture, scan to the next page. If you do not want to hear it all the page read aloud, you can take the page away, put the second page in. So you don't have to listen to every page being read aloud before you scan the second page.
And then it will convert each page separately. And that takes a few seconds per page, depending how much text is on the page. I mean, I did like 6 pages of a novel, and one of them was really text heavy. So that page took maybe 5 seconds, and the other pages were like maybe 2 or 3 seconds per page. And it announces like converting page 1, converting page 2. So you always know where you're at in the process, which is nice.
Yep.
And then you can read a book on the Neptune too. You could put your drive in. When you put the drive in, it goes to a different type of menu. And so you're able to like read there. If you have multiple books, you could pick, or you could even pick pages in a book. So say you select book 1 that you've put in there, and then you want to read page 10, you can arrow down to page 10 and select it. You don't have to read from the beginning.
That's right.
Okay.
Lee, I have a question.
Sure.
So I know that we touched on some of the highlights of the Neptune, but in your opinion, what makes the Neptune special as an OCR device, or what makes it different from other OCR devices available on the market?
I think one thing is the speed and the accuracy of the OCR is very good. And it happens, like I said, almost instantly. And I think it's really an adaptable device depending on how you want to use it. No matter what your visual condition, if you want to use the screen, there are many different customizable colors and choices. And we don't even have a range. Like, sometimes you will buy a device and it will say that there is a magnification of 2 to 20x. We don't even provide something like that because you can go up to where basically you have 2 letters on a screen, which is not really usable, but it allows someone to take it from almost just somewhat like maybe 2 times larger than the actual print on the page, and then go up to as large as you would need it, maybe a word on a page at a time. If that would be helpful to you, you can do that. So it's very customizable. The fact that you can use different voices is very good because some people hear better with the different tones. And also the Spanish, that is our second largest demographic for languages through our APH products. We wanted to make sure that that was available as well.
One thing that I really love,
Yeah, super portable and long battery life.
yeah, I was just about to say, one thing that I love about the Neptune when we're at conferences is that it doesn't weigh very much. So it's, you know, a lot of times we're hauling around these huge pieces of assistive tech, but this one
That's right.
really doesn't feel like you're
Really
carrying
light.
anything. It's great.
It also can highlight text on the screen if somebody's having maybe reading difficulties in addition to blindness or low vision,
That's
or
right.
even if a student just had something where tracking text was difficult, they could use the Neptune and go word by word or sentence. It will highlight what's being read. So I feel like that's another use that maybe a blind or low vision student could work with a peer that maybe has a reading difficulty, and they could both
That's right.
benefit from the Neptune.
I even had, this was at my home, and I had someone come over and I was showing them the Neptune. They said, I would have loved it. They had 20/20 vision. I said, I would have loved to have this when I was younger because they grew up struggling with dyslexia, trying to read. And it's sort of like a Zoom text situation. The word is actually highlighted as it reads the word aloud. The word is highlighted like it would be an app reader of Zoom text. And so that can be helpful to make sure the student is tracking where the word is that's actually being spoken. Any other questions from our group today?
Well, in the meantime, while people are figuring out what kind of questions they have, we can launch a poll.
Okay.
All right, so everybody, we are going to go ahead and launch the last poll question of this webinar. And you should see it on your screens now, but the question is based on the visual needs of your current students, Will you most use the Neptune with or without the included 13-inch display screen? And we'll give you just a minute to answer. I know what I would say if I well, actually, I do have a Neptune. So I would say I would know what I would say if I had a Neptune, but I actually have one right next to me, more or less. So uh, I most certainly would use it with the display screen. I don't know about you. What do you think, Lee? What would you do?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I would use it without. So hey, there's something for everyone.
Absolutely.
But
What do
I'm
you
glad
think?
it's there because, I'm glad it's there for people that need it.
Right.
Exactly.
And it is
Well,
the screen is amazingly light. I mean, it adds very little weight to the whole
very
package. So
little, very little.
I don't mind carrying it around if it was it's not like it's a super heavy screen that I'm like, oh, I hate to demo this because it's hard to carry that screen. It's extremely light and portable.
And one thing about this
Absolutely.
as well, for whatever skill listener you are, this will meet your needs. You can slow this
Mhm,
down to where the speech is very slow,
mhm,
and you can speed this up to where it is very, very fast, like, a voiceover type of a speed. So
mhm.
wherever you are on that listening skill level, this can meet what you need.
And it can go quite loud or it can be soft. And of course, you can also do your headphones, which
Mhm.
makes it even better. Um, it is when you turn it on, it can also be quite loud and it kind of sounds like it's going to blow up, but it's not. It's just a lot of beeping as it first turns on. So just be prepared for that. The first time I turned it on, I was a little concerned because it just kept going.
When you do turn it on every time you start a session, you will hear a series of beeps, and you will also have the old like test pattern that used to be on television at 11 o'clock at night. There's the different colors come up just to kind of set the screen. And so you will see that come up on the screen if you're able to see that, and you will hear about 4 or 5 tones. And there you go.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. And again, the question was based on the visual needs of your current students, will you mostly use the Neptune with or without the included 13-inch display screen? And 79% said that they would use it with, and 21% said that they would use it without.
Okay. Thank you for that feedback.
Excellent. Well, if we do not have any more questions, do we
I
have?
would mention one other thing that we do with the Neptune. We do have replacement parts available from APH. So, for example, if you happen to lose the remote control and can't find it, you can purchase that from APH. You can also purchase the screen and connection cable if you lose that, and you can also purchase the AC adapter. So, if you do misplace those or those get lost in some way, you can always reach back out to APH and go to our website and find those replacement feature or pieces as well.
Awesome. We have one question in the chat from Beth, and she's asking if the student is blind, what makes the Neptune better than the phone or tablet with OCR?
Well, with a phone, number one, there are a lot of laws changing today, school system to school system, and basically classroom to classroom. Some students are not able to use a phone in the classroom at all. And so, unless that specially gets written into a student's IEP and have that accommodation, they don't have the opportunity to use a phone in the classroom. And so, I would say that the accuracy is just probably better than what you might get from your phone. And you also have, the opportunity to have it on the screen. So the availability of it, because sometimes students do not have the availability of a smartphone. Maybe their parents don't let them have that at 10 or 11 or 12 years old, which would be appropriate for this device. And also, we do have a senior market at APH who are not going to be cellular tech phone savvy. And for those folks, an app on your phone really wouldn't be appropriate. And this would take the need of scanning and reading, make it accessible to them without having to be, quote, tech savvy with the use of an app.
All right. Beth said, thank you for helping me understand.
Great.
Awesome. Well, if we do not have any more questions, we can give you guys 10 minutes back to your day. We know your time is valuable, but we enjoyed having you today, of course. And thank you so much to Lee, Lydia, and Jennifer for being here and explaining the Neptune as we have just launched it out here. And we hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and we will see you in the next partner showcase. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.